Hello friends, today's tutorial about creating a cyclone in Blender 2.8. So let's get started. First of all, we are going to delete this default lamp and the cube. So select them and then press delete. You can press X to delete. Now we are going to add the emitter particle. So press shift then A, then select mesh and circle. Scale it of your choice and then go into edit mode and then press F to fill the face. Just get back to the object mode. Now just grab this on Z axis, so press G then Z, grab it on Z axis to a height you like. This is quite enough. Now we are going to set the particle system for this. So you can find the particle system here and then click plus. I want to set the number to 10,000 and let's leave everything like this and let's see what it shows. So it looks nice. But just we don't want the particles to fall like just rain. We want to create a twisting effect also. For that we are going to add the force fields which are going to affect the particles. First of all, we will add what? Force field, vertex force field, which is going to pull it towards center. Now click on the physics tab to set the properties. Now I want to set the strength to 10, inflow of 1.5 and noise amount to 2. Now let's see what happens. Look, you can now see the effect, but it's not reaching the ground. This is happening because the particle settings which you have set says what? Where is it? Particle settings. Lifetime is set to 50. Now we want to increase it to about 150, or just leave it at 100 and see what happens. If we play the animation, you can see. Okay, so increase it to 110. Be okay. Just replay it. It's going to a perfect place, which is to the x-axis. That's perfect place we wanted. It's perfect. But I want to make this tutorial short too, so I will set the end frame 150. That will be the length of the animation, as well as here also 150. Now we are going to add another force field, that is the force field. So press shift A, then force field, then force field. And we are going to change the properties and the physics tab. Strength of 15, flow of 1, that will be okay, and noise amount of 2 as well. Now let's see. Oh, we have to set the strength of -50 because it is pushing it upwards. We wanted to pull it downwards, so value of -15 will do that. So if we press now you can see this, it's pulling it downward. Now we want to add the last force field, that is what? That is which force field? Magnetic force field, which will be adding in the center of the two force fields and the circle. So click right over here, press the cursor here, make sure it is in center. Oh, it's quite above. Just bring it down here and make sure the cursor is in center. Then press shift A, force field, then magnetic force field. want it to be a plane, not a point, because we want it to affect only the up and down, any top and bottom axis, or single the z axis, because point has 2 dimensions, so it will affect in all the directions. That's why we are changing it to plane, not point. We want to set the strength of 15, flow of 1 is good enough, and noise amount of 3 this time. So if we play the animation, we can see the particles in a shape funnel, like it's forming a funnel shape. See, it's forming a funnel shape. Now let's see again. Okay, that's nice, but here's a problem. Particles are going too much down here. We want it to end at this line, that is the x-axis. So for that, I'm going to decrease the lifetime of the particles. For that, select the circle, go to the particle settings and change the lifetime to 100 and see if it actually affects it. So it goes still going down. Now we can reduce this to 90, and now let's see. Still we can do another thing, is that we can grab this up in the z axis. So press G, then Z, then grab it on z axis and just scale it a bit. Now let's play the animation and see if it works. It goes and goes and goes. Oh, we want just a little more. You can leave it if you want, that's not any problem. Now just grab it a bit and that will make it perfect. And that's okay. Now to affect these force fields, I'm going to create a plane axis, or the empty, that will control all these 3 vertices or the force fields. That I will add above the circle or the cloud, whatever you want to call it. Just this cloud which will produce the cyclone. So make sure this cursor is above the circle, and then press Shift A to add an empty, and that will be plane axis. Now select these 3 axes with B, and just hold Shift and right click on the plane axis to select it, and then press Ctrl P to parent it to the parent axis. Now what does this do is that it gives the control of the 3 vertices or 3 force fields to the plane axis. Now if we grab this axis, all these 3 force fields will also move with this only. So now I'm going to animate this plane axis or the force fields. So press I and then select location. Now we will just share what we will do. We'll just open another window, divide it and change this to graph editor. Oh, we want only the plane axis to be there. And lock the z axis. We don't have to do anything with z axis, we have to change only the x and y locations. So first we'll select the x location and press N to open the properties panel. Let me make it bigger so that you can see clearly, and then switch to modifiers and add modifiers, then noise. Now change the scale to around 35 and strength of 2, or you can increase. First of all, let's see the effect of it. See, This is giving this twisting effect along the x-axis. If you want to give it more twisting, like more strong tornado, then you can increase the strength to 3 or 4, something like that, and it will move faster and very zigzag way. So same with the y-axis, check x location, y location, then noise, then strength of 30, 34, let's make it, no, 35 only, that makes it good, and strength of 3.5. You can see the x and y axis are overlapping, so you can change the pattern by changing the phase of this. Now make the size of this window bigger. Now you can see it very clearly. If we play the animation, now you can see it is having very twisty effects, like coming down like a real tornado. Now I don't want to do anything else. If you don't like the way it is moving, so you can change it over here. So I'm going to close this window, and now what we need to do is to create another particle system that will act as a dust. So make sure your cursor is center. If not, then press Shift S and select cursor to world origin. Sorry, Shift S, then cursor to world origin. Now press Shift, then A, then add a mesh, then circle. And scale it as big as that circle in the air or the cloud. Approx size will be good. Now tab into edit mode, then press E to extrude, then right click to leave it as it is, then press S to scale inwards and create a disc shape like this. Scale it inwards a bit more. That's it, and switch back to object mode. We will give a particle system to this also. Press 1, and the number I'm going to jump from 1000 directly to 40,000. 1, 2, 3. That makes 40,000. And frame of 150 only. And lifetime I will leave it as it is. Now if we play the animation, you can see the particle is moving downwards. I don't want that, because the dust is going to move upward. Usually it happens that the dust moves upwards towards the center of the tornado. So we can change that over here. We can change the normal to negative of 10, which will make it move upward. That's perfect. Change the tangent velocity to 5, object velocity to 1, and randomize it to 15. Now if we see this, you can see these expanded particles like in a very wide range, different size and all. Now let's see, it looks better, but we want to set the timing for the ground particles to rise up. Okay, that's okay. Alright, so let's see where this upper cyclone comes down. At that frame we should change the initial 80, I think so 75 would be enough. Change the start frame of the down particles to 75 and see what happens. And it comes down, down and down and down. As it reaches the clouds to ground, it causes the particles to rise up or the dust to rise up, and which looks perfect. No error. So now we want to create the smoke simulation. Particle systems are done. So make sure your circle is in center. Press 1 to go into front or topographic view, and then press Shift, then A, then add a cube. This cube is going to be our domain, so scale it so that particle systems fit inside it. Grab along the Z axis and scale on Z axis. Switch to wireframe, press Z, or you can switch here from to wireframe from there. Make sure everything is inside the cube or the domain, which will be afterwards. As long as these particles are inside this cube, everything is fine. Now we are going to add the physics to it, and that will be smoke, and type to be domain. Now I want to increase the resolution dimensions to 60, but for render I would change this to higher, like something 80 or 90. But for this testing, we should consider a lower value of the resolution so it does not crashes in between, and just change the high resolution dimensions to 3. Just don't activate it right now because we will activate it while baking. So this is okay. Now set the smoke simulation for the cloud also. This will be now flow, not the domain, flow, and it will change from mesh to particle system, and then select this collection particle system. Same with the down particle systems, smoke, type to flow, mesh to particle system, and then select the particle system. Now let's play the animation and see what happens. Okay, it acts good. Smoke is coming down over the particles. That looks nice. Okay. First of all, let's change the domain to be dissolve and adaptive domain. Now what does this mean? That let me play the animation, then you'll understand it more clearly. This happens, it does not remain the same as it is. It changes shape according to the domain or the particle system which is active. Now let's see, it comes down, and now at 75 the dust particle will rise, and now they rise up, and it looks perfect. You can see everything is done, and our animation is playing quite well. I would like to change the temperature difference to 0.05 instead of 0.1. Now what does this do is that the smoke will rise much slower than as it is acting. So the lesser the temperature, the slower the smoke will rise. And that looks nice. Now it's time to bake it. So go into the cache settings. You see that everything is grayed out. This is because we haven't saved this file. So go to file, then click save as, and then save it wherever you want. And I'm going to call it tutorial tornado. And then just click save as blender file. Now you can see it is now highlighted once again, and just set the end frames to 150 because our animation is 150 long, and instead of use library path, I want to change the location where my caches will be storing. So I'll save it where I want, and I'm going to call it tutorial tornado cache. Press enter, click on create new directory, and then accept. Now everything is set, and don't forget to check mark on the high resolution for good quality render. Now just everything is set. Now click on bake to bake this. It might take a long time, it depends on the hardware of your computer, but it will hardly take 10 to 15 minutes in my computer because I have 8 GB of RAM, which will make it work faster, though I don't have a very good processor. So I'll talk to you later when this is done. Our animation is rendered and now we can add shaders to it, but before that we would like to see how it is baked. That looks good. And but make sure to change the render engine to cycles instead of Eevee. That gives more effect. Now it's time to add light sources, lights. So just press shift, make sure it's cursor in the center, shift S for storage, shift A, then light to area, grab it on Z, grab it on Y, sorry, on X, and that looks good. Wait a second, grab on X, yes, and from the properties tab change this to this instead of square. Scale it up, rotate along X, then rotate along Z, a bit on X. Set this to color of what? This color to value of what? Something like warm color and 500. Strength and then shift D, duplicate it, rotate along Z, and give it a color of light blue and 600 instead of 500. Give it a little bit. Now before we render it, we want to give it a basic material. First of all, let's grab these lights to back, means behind the domain of the lights, and hide these particle emitters. That looks good. Now just rotate it a bit on X. Okay, that is okay. This as well. Now shift, divide the window into two and change it to graph editor. Sorry, not graph editor, shader editor. Select the domain and press new. Delete the default principal VSDF and add a shader, volume shader. Where is it? Principal volume shader. Connect the volume to volume, not the surface, just the volume. And now we switch to render view. Okay. From here we can see, oh, just a second, we should come to the frame and let's see how does it look. Okay. That looks good. We should increase the strength of the lights, maybe increase it to 6000 and that to 5000. Now switch to render view. That looks better, something that you wanted. Okay, now we are going to add a couple of things more. We are going to give it a shape. First of all, let's change the environment settings, make it a bit darker, color a bit darker. That will look good. And to give it a texture, we are going to add a texture coordinate. Where is it? Oh, just we can search it if you don't find texture coordinate. We need mapping to control the color variation. And now the color ramp, last thing. Color ramp will be in between the connect color to principal volume, vector to factor, and generated to vector. That's it. Colors, you can choose the colors of your choice. I will give reddish at the top, pinkish reddish, much red, not orange, red. That looks good. And this one is going to be a bit brownish, and the last one somewhere like blue, darker blue. And now we render it. Okay, this looks beautiful too, but this is for something like extract painting. We don't want like too much colorful. For that we are going to change the values in the mapping here, and I will change the locations here to, let's see where it looks good. A value of 1 would be fine. Not 1, rotation would be, sorry, it's location, my mistake. We have to change the location around 65. That looks good, but something like not very dark, a bit light gray. I'll give a little bit of green. Bit of sandish color. You can choose the color whatever you want.